What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're playing Old Stickfingers. Funny name for a card, but apt art there. Old Stickfingers in Historic Brawl. So this is a X Golgari creature. We'll get into the X in a second. And you can see it's a horror and it's a star. So when you cast the spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Old Stickfingers' power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So traditionally, you would build this deck as like a Golgari, Reanimator, or Golgari, creatures in the graveyard matter deck, right? And you might cast Old Stickfingers for like 7, X equals 7, and put the top 7 creatures in your graveyard, yada yada yada. But we're sort of manipulating the ability, because if you read it, it just says reveal cards from the top of the library until you reveal X creature cards. So if you only have one creature, you can essentially guarantee that you're going to tutor that one creature into your graveyard. And so this deck only has one creature, and it's our boy Griselbrand. So the whole point of the deck is Golgari control. When we get to enough mana, cast Old Stickfingers for 3, so 1 generic and then, the black and green. That will put Griselbrand into our graveyard, and we have all sorts of different effects to bring it back. So the idea is Golgari control with the top end reload, like hand reload, of playing Old Stickfingers for 3, getting Griselbrand on the battlefield, and we have the ability to add instant speed, pay 7 life, and draw 7 cards. So once we run out of fuel, we can just reload with Griselbrand. Doesn't hurt that he's a 7/7 flying lifelinker, right? So if Griselbrand stays on the battlefield, we can, swing in and kill the opponent that way, gain some of the life back that we're losing. And we do have, some of these effects give haste, so it'll bring the creature back and then immediately give it haste, so we can immediately swing in with Griselbrand. But those are just cherries on top of the cake. The cake is Golgari control, and so we have all the Golgari control pieces: Assemble the Team, Meat Hook Massacre, Defense of the Heart. So is an enchantment we can put down when we have 4 mana, and then if our opponent has 3 or more creatures, we can sacrifice it and just put Griselbrand straight on the battlefield without doing the whole Old Stickfingers trick. Virtue of Persistence, obviously the adventure side, we can kill a creature with the -3, and then we gain 2 life. But then the backside enchantment, we can put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield each turn. So that could be our opponent's creatures that we kill with our, plethora of kill spells, or it can just be Griselbrand. If the opponent keeps trying to remove Griselbrand and they don't have a way to exile it, we can just keep bringing it back from the graveyard. So we're not tied to either of these creatures. We don't care if Old Stickfingers dies. As soon as we bring Griselbrand out of the graveyard, it's gonna die, because it'll become a 0/0 and die on its own. But we're just using it as a way to tutor out Griselbrand. Everything else in the deck is pretty much what you would expect in a Golgari control deck. It's card draw, ways to bring back stuff from the graveyard, Necropotence, Phyrexian Arena, all the great black card draw, and then just, a handful, I think it's like 7 or so of these types of effects. Some of them have flash, like this one. I tried to pick ones that all had like different functionality. Like this one has flash, this one gives haste, this one double explores, this one puts 2+1/+1 counters. This one, Eldritch Reborn lets us make our opponent sacrifice a creature and then discard a card, and then we can put a creature onto the battlefield, yada yada yada. If we have enough snow lands, we can just straight up get it out of the graveyard with Blood on the Snow, although we'd have to have 8 snow lands, so unlikely, but it's still an option. And then to finish the game, we just have our Planeswalkers: Professor Onyx, Liliana. Casualties of War is a tough one. Nissa Who Shakes the World to double our mana and just keep the gravy train going. So let's see if we can get some wins with this deck. I do want to say though that I'm going to make a couple iterations of this deck over time. This one is like get the big payoff and win with the big payoff, but there are a lot of other cool ways to use this card, and other creatures that you can do the same exact strategy with, but they'd have different effects, right? This one is just a big bad creature that allows us to draw a bunch of cards, which is awesome, but there are other creatures that maybe aren't gigantic, and but they allow you to have tons of value in different ways. So I'm gonna build this deck in a couple different ways. If you're thinking, when you're watching this video and you're thinking like, well, why didn't you pick this creature? It's like, well, it's kind of, there's like 18 different creatures I could have chosen. I just thought this one was the best one to start with because it kind of really exemplifies the whole idea of the deck. So let's hop into the games, see if we can get some wins. I will tell you this: our opponents will not be expecting this at all. So we will catch a lot of people off guard. They're going to be like, oh, this is a Golgari, you know, Reanimator or something deck, which is half true, but we're only searching for one card. If you like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button. Helps me out, helps the channel grow. Oh, Byra, Dreaming Duelist. What do you do? Demir... Flash flying, whenever another fairy enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. Okay, so it's like fairy tribal. Well, Cryo Canarium is probably really good against them because fairies are generally 2/2s or 2/1s, and this will kill all of them. We don't have any ramp, which is a bummer. We do have 4 lands though. Griselbrand in our opener is awkward. Didn't think about that potentially happening. Freaking Arena Shuffler, man. They just saw this in my deck and they're like, oh, you want that in your opening hand? No, I don't. I do not. Let's mull. This is fine. I mean, yeah. We don't have triple black, but we'll get there. They get to go first. The only thing about fairies that could be an issue... Oh, God. They can cast anything at flash speed. Awesome. The only thing that about fairies that can be tough is it's a tempo deck usually. Well, at least in 60 cards, a tempo deck where like you try to do something and they counter it with their fairy, right? And then they have a board of little tiny creatures, but they add up real quick. Yeah, let's just get this down. This is just in the deck to gain some passive life because our deck, a lot of our cards, you know, black requires you to lose life to gain value. Obviously Griselbrand does that, so we just want to gain some passive life. It's a nice turn 1 card for sure. Okay. They're keeping their mana up. They can flash in their commander. I guess we technically don't have 2 black sources, we only have 1. I didn't think about Phyrexian Tower not really actually being able to provide black in this deck because we don't have any creatures. We could play old Stickfingers and then sack it to get the double black and get Necropotence down. That's definitely an option. This is also nullifying their 2 damage, which is nice. It's giving us some extra time. Yeah, I mean, they can counter this if they want. Oh, it's a cast trigger, so it doesn't matter if they counter it. Yep, there's Griselbrand right in our graveyard. Now, they could have a way to exile it. They are in Dimir. I would sort of be surprised if they had that right off the bat, though. You know, if they could tutor for it or something, that would make sense, but this early in the game would be sort of a surprise. Yeah, this Ivory Tower is going to work. Ooh. Okay, so we can Necropotence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, wait, can we just Virtue of Persistence? And they're in Dimir, they wouldn't be able to interact with it. They could have a counter spell. Let's go to combat. We're not blocking with this guy, so we might as well attack, get the 1 damage. We could Blood for Bones here. And get Griselbrand out. I think we go for the Virtue though. I mean, let's make him have it, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. It's exactly what we need. Put it back in our hands. Dark Ritual. They have to counter this here, otherwise they won't be able to interact with it. Wash away. Well, how did... Oh, they use the backside of Wash Away. I was like, Wash Away doesn't allow you to counter stuff if you cast it from the hand, but the backside does. Or if you cast it for 3. Okay, so we went for it. Now they know what's up. We can't cast this or this. Super awkward. Do we have the dual snow land? I don't remember. And if I don't, I should probably add that in. Oh no, we're good. We're fine. We have these. No problem. Mind Stone. Okay. If they have a counter, that's fine. Yeah, I think I want to keep a symbol of the team. So we'll see if they have interaction. If they do, we just draw the cards. Hostage taker into the battlefield. So they can take Griselbrand, right? We'll let them target it. It's going to be a while before they can cast it because it's 8 mana. Activate. Perfect. Resolve. So I believe the way Hostage Taker works is if I kill Hostage Taker, it comes right back to the battlefield. So we don't need you anymore. And discard 4 cards. This is good against them. We need you. I guess we can get rid of Phyrexian Arena. And probably Necropotence because we have Griselbrand. Probably assemble the team as well because we have Dig Up. So they're going to swing in here. They can't cast Griselbrand. It costs 8. Didn't seem like they had a counter. Or at least they definitely didn't when I reanimated Griselbrand. Okay. So they could have a counter, but we just gotta fight through them. This will also help us. Oh, okay. We'll do both. Get back for Griselbrand. Next. It doesn't have haste, though. It's summoning sick. So that's a bummer. We can... Flying. Create a fairy. Draw a card. Okay. Pass. We don't care about that. We have Bond of Revival, too. So if they kill it, we can just Bond of Revival. Have it come back in, swing in, gain some life. Draw some more cards. Good game, they say. Good game. The power Griselbrand. So I think that was a pretty good example of how the deck's supposed to work. Even against a deck that had Leyline on the battlefield and ways to steal it and counter it, we still fought through all that because we just can keep reanimating it, keep killing their stuff. And this is just such a powerful card to have on turn 5 or whenever we can afford it. And then, yeah, you saw how we just cast this for 3 and it comes right out and whole engine starts. Pretty cool. This is an even more powerful deck in Commander. I mean, I feel like I say that every episode. You know, it's mostly true for any deck because the card pool is bigger, but I just mean you know, there's much more powerful creatures that aren't on Arena that you can tutor that maybe have like an enter the battlefield trigger or something like that have like immediate value versus just like drawing cards. Drawing cards is great, but like some of them are like extremely powerful enter the battlefield triggers that just don't exist on Arena. So if you're interested in this kind of deck, I definitely, you know, and you want to build it in paper, I definitely recommend you check out some of the stuff that you can reanimate out of those builds. Plus the reanimation spells that you get outside of Arena are much better. This is that stupid alchemy card. So I hadn't seen this card until I think it was last video and or a couple videos ago. And this is awful card design. Like whoever made this card needs to be taken to a room and seriously questioned. Like this is disgusting amount of value. So we'll try our best. We have to kill this thing on site. So we have Infernal Grasp and Crux of Fate to eventually get there. So I think this is a good hand against this deck, but man, just conjuring lands for free is it's disgustingly good. Great for our opponent, bad for us. Bad for the game of Magic. Is what I would argue. Nope, we don't need that. It's fine. Okay, so we gotta have a removal spell up next turn, which we will. Let's just pass. Back to Nature, destroy all enchantments. Not really relevant in this game, but is extremely good against like Sithis or those kinds of decks. So, full control, resolve. Do they have a way to protect it? Wow. Cool. They are empty-handed, though. Well, they have one card in hand, but... okay. So this isn't the worst in the world, because we can Crux of Fate. But, it's not great. I don't know how much double green we have in the deck. If any. Nissa? I guess we'll do double green. We already have double black, so... it's no big deal. Let's just kill this now. They're gonna play it again. We can sweep it up with Crux of Fate and maybe get back in this game. No lands? Interesting. So it has to do 6 damage. So 1, 2, 3. Then exile. I'd have to exile both my black cards to do 6. Yikes. Man. Not drawing a land was pretty awkward. I guess we can get back our 2 removal spells. I mean, that's something. probably the best card in their deck. If we get to another land, we're okay. We can sweep all this up. But we gotta sweep it up. Yep. We have to draw a land here. Garruk's Uprising. Sure. Oh yeah, I mean, we knew we weren't going to draw a land. Okay, well, can we survive if we just double... We're going to lose 2 life, so we'll be down to 1. Not ideal, but here we are. So you can see what I mean about this card being disgusting value. They've only played half of these lands. The other half were great. The other half were created out of thin air due to their commander. Down to 1. Okay, we draw the land. I mean, I guess we just do it. They can still play their commander. And they still have 3 cards in hand. I mean, our only chance back in this game might be to old Stickfingers, Griselbrand, swing in to gain life. This deck probably doesn't have a lot of ways of interacting with creatures. Especially flyers. If they could stack their deck for exactly what cards they want, they would have drawn Garruk's Uprising, the Great Henge, and Finale of Devastation. Good game, I guess, bro. I'm not even gonna let you swing in. Hey, Wizards, stop making this garbage, okay? This is bad for the game. Stop. It's bad for the game. In fact, just get alchemy cards out of all the formats that we like. No one likes these. Garbage. Okay. So we'll discount that game because that card is unhinged. I'm surprised we even made it that long, honestly. Like a Zuza, if you're familiar with the Zuza, the 3-mana green creature that lets you play double lands, that card, which is a real card by the way, is already really powerful. That was, like what that deck's trying to do, that was the same deck, there's just a different commander. And that deck was extremely powerful, very popular mono green commander. So to make a like better version of that is like, who made that decision? Haktos, the Unscarred. Boros? Oh, yeah, I remember this guy. This guy is hard to interact with. Attacks each combat of Able. As it enters the battlefield, choose 2, 3, 4 at random. Haktos has protection from each mana value other than the chosen number, which is super awkward. However, Languish gets around that, and Carnarium gets around that. We have all of our mana. So yeah, and we have ways to reanimate, so I think we go for this. These both get rid of that creature. Okay. Cool. It's nice to be in black. Yeah, let's lead off with this. Let's go fix our mana. Let's see. I keep forgetting to put the snow tapped duel in, but we definitely need to get that guy in there. That way when we have a second fetch land, we can go get another duel. Also, if you guys have seen the new Surveil lands from the next set, the Murders at, is it Tarkov Manor? Something like that. They're going to have dual lands that have, they enter the battlefield tap, but they have Surveil 1, which is pretty dope. So those will be new fetchable lands that have a little bit more value. Yep, nothing to do here. Just pass on through. Okay. I think we're just fetching black. Or we can't, never mind. Psych! We can't because we can only get green or white. No big deal. We'll just, I mean, let's just do the thing, right? Get a 1/1 down. If they want to bolt it, that's fine. We do not care. Called it. Lightning Helix. Good card. Glad it's being used on this and not something else. Alright, well, we have nothing to do but Thoughtseize, so might as well. Do you have a Mana Tithe? Or a Reprieve? Berries. What a waste of time. Oh my god. I mean, that's a way to do it, but that's insane. That is actually insane. So it has protection from everything, but choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. So it has protection against everything except for mana value 4. Exile all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. I just want to make sure we're not exiling our own Griselbrand. Yes, so it's just their creature that dies and gets exiled. Griselbrand's still in our graveyard. Okay. We should use this on their creature when they play it again next turn. Although, I mean, we can't remove this right now anyway. This will sweep up all their creatures. So we could probably just get this cooking. If they have a way to remove it, they have a way to remove it. Well, at least we are not going to make them sack something, but we'll at least get the discard effect and reanimate Griselbrand effect. Uh-huh. Take a damage. Discard a card. Do you have another Teferi's protection? Wouldn't matter anyway, I don't think. Maybe it would, because they phase out. I don't know. I'm not actually sure how that would work. So this has protection, but it's not indestructible, right? So we could just Wrath here. And save Languish. It's not indestructible, right? I keep thinking this is indestructible, but I guess it isn't. Oh yeah, what kind of creatures are these? Human warrior, so all non-dragons. Bye-bye. All attack neutral have double strike. That's pretty good. We can get rid of that with Virtue, though. No. Hopefully they don't have a Swords to Plowshares or something like that. That would be a bummer. We definitely need to get rid of the double strike creature. play this. They might try to interact with it now. Exile it. Ooh, okay. Well, I guess Griselbrand's going away. So we really need the value right now. Let's see what we got. We need more board wipes. We can get back our board wipes with this. And then I think we're okay. We have Nissa, so that can be a perpetual blocker on this. And we have Languish. Resolve. We don't have any other creatures, so we get wrecked by that card. Is there anything we'd want to play this turn? We can Phyrexian Tower, gain a life. And how many cards do we have? 1, 2, 3. I guess it doesn't matter because we're going to discard these reanimation spells since we can't use them anymore. End turn, we got to discard 2 cards, so you and you, because it's not on the deck anymore. Yep, submit 2. We can go get a enchantment removal with Dig Up. We could go get Maelstrom Pulse. No, sorry. Casualties of War is what I was thinking. Pass. So we kill a creature and lose. So I mean, we sort of net 1 life here. Is that worth our removal spell? What does this do? Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. Huh. I mean, Languish is going to sweep all this up. I think I'd rather save the card for now. We're going to gain life back with Druid class. If they have some effect to give double strike, I'll react. My turn. That's pretty nice. Life. Yeah, so this uses all of our black mana. And they're just going to sack one of these and then I die next turn. So we have to Languish. And then we have 3 mana left over to do something. If they play their commander next turn, we can invoke Despair and get rid of... Well, we can get rid of... Yeah, we have another black, so we can get rid of both. I guess we might as well, right? I mean, they might have a creature with haste, so we might get wrecked here, but I think this is worth it. Gain a life. We're going for the haste. Okay, so do we just play this and start getting their own creatures back? Like Skyclave app would be pretty good. This would be pretty good. Yeah. We can also once in future and get back a board wipe. We can Infernal Grasp and invoke Despair. Right? Yes. Then we go down to 2. God, it's so risky. But I don't think we have a choice. We have to get rid of this thing. We'll draw a card as well. Okay, we can make a big blocker too. So we have a couple options. We don't necessarily have to take the 2 life. Is this only sorcery speed? Oh, it is sorcery speed. Okay. Do they have a way to protect it? Nope. We'll see what they do, but this might be the way, this might be how we turn the corner. Okay. I think we just... Well, what's better? Is this better? I think we do this one first. So if they have a haste creature, they have a haste creature. But if we survive this turn, or we don't get Lightning Helix, which is thankfully already in their graveyard, then we should be okay. Ragavan, okay. Scary. They're gonna dash it. Do they have a way to do 1 damage? They have a Spike-Field Hazard? That would be so brutal. They took a land from us. Okay, we survived. Wait, hold on. No. I was gonna say we could give our stuff double strike. Skyclave app. It's fine. Is it 4 or greater? 4 or less, yeah. That's what I thought. Nice. Okay, well in that case, I think we just hold up the mana. We're on too low of a life total. It's just because X damage to target creature. So we can target our own creature in response. And gain a bunch of life. So I think that's what we do here. Let's not auto pass in case they have an instant. No attacks. End turn. Okay. Full control. Resolve. They get a 3/3. Resolve. So I think in their brain they're thinking they're gonna dash in Ragavan and get in that 1 damage. Before they draw a card, let's just do this. Wait, hold on. Pay what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 8. Pay 8. Oh, actually, hold on. Cancel. Cancel. Let's make sure we don't sack our creature. I know Arena would make us do that. Okay. And then we don't need this anymore, so we can get 2 extra. So 8, 10, right? Pay 10. Submit 1. You. Submit 1. Auto pay. Resolve. Get out of full control. Do they have a protection spell? That's the only thing that would get them out of this right now. They have a 1 mana protection spell. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. They had an answer. We'll see what they get off the top of our deck. This is the last time the monkey's going to be able to hit. They get a land. Can you beat the virtue? No, you cannot. Man, and they even exiled our Griselbrand. We were still able to fight through that. That is the risk of this deck, is, you know, there is a lot of exile in the format, so, but that's the way to play it. If they target your Griselbrand, you can draw 7 cards in response to the trigger. And depending on how much life you have, maybe you can draw 14 cards, right? So it's not like it'll be exiled and you'll get 0 value off of it, but it does mean that you can't keep recurring it and getting endless value off of it. So, but we were able to battle through that one, so that was pretty cool. Let's do one more. That was a pretty long game. I do like that with this card we're not playing in Hell Q. I sort of take a mental note of the commanders that aren't in Hell Q, and I'm like, oh well, I kind of like playing these. This feels like how a Historic Brawl should be, where it's not just like, you know, you're always playing the same 5 decks. Like, I've never ever played. I own this card in paper. I have never played this commander, so I don't even know what this deck is doing. Maybe it's Exile Matters for the -5? That would be a bummer for our reanimation plan. This kills a Planeswalker, so that's probably good. We keep forgetting to put that snow fetch, that snow duel in our dual land in our deck, but it's too late now. Cool. That's great. Let's just do this now. While they're tapped out. I mean, they don't have blue, but the addition of stifle effects in the format has really made me nervous about when to crack fetches. Don't want to Stone Rain myself. Okay. Double black's fine. We have Cultivate next turn. If they play Kaya, we can... Okay, that's fine too. We'll just do this. We can also ramp, so we need a green and a black source. I wonder what their deck does beyond Kaya. So I don't think our reanimation plan is gonna work unless we time it really well. But we're probably gonna have to wait to do that because this card literally exiles stuff from our graveyard. Not at instant speed, but we have to have enough mana to play Old Stickfingers and a reanimation spell in the same turn in order to get around this. Once it's on the battlefield, at least we'll get some value off of it, but doing the reanimation thing and then having it get exiled would be a bummer. So we can Ritual of Soot We can dig up to get the reanimation spell. We do have ones that take... We do have ones so we could do it for like 7 mana. So maybe we do this now while we're under a light amount of pressure. I mean, we could just straight up get Griselbrand. I mean, that's not the worst idea, right? We could get... Yeah, I mean, we could just get Griselbrand. We could also get just removal spells or whatever else. Necropotence. Alright, we gotta make a decision here. It's too bad we don't have that 6 mana artifact that turns off planeswalkers. Probably this one is the one I'm gonna go for. Because at least it makes them sacrifice a creature. They're making a lot of mana, but they're taking a lot of life. Yep, exile my card, attack me for 3. What does your deck do, opponent? You have like, what, 5, 8 mana, and you're just not going to play anything? You're playing, what, Orzhov Control? I mean, I respect it. We'll go get another black source. I'm sorry, no we won't. Not with this land. Gotta pay attention. I mean... Sure. We'll just have something to do. We don't want to do this into the Kaya, so... No. We have 3 cards. Deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life. This is an instant speed thing. They're gaining life as well. I guess we just pay 3 life and kill this thing.
I'll be back. Just you wait.
Just make them do something on their turn. They obviously want to sit back and do nothing. So if we kill their Kaya, they can't just sit there and not spend any mana.
Crueler the opponent, the
Cool deck though.
Funny, that's what I do.
I am a fan of Orzhov Control. One of the more underrated guilds for control. Okay. So I think we have enough black here. So we can, let's tap a forest. We'll do it like this. Pay 1. So they could kill this in response. And then I wouldn't get the reanimation. They do not. They're reading the card. I hope they let me get to their turn so I can draw cards without having to discard. That's perfect. I mean, they're in Orzhov. They gotta have answers for this. Shoulder, yes. Okay. So we draw in response. So they're gonna make me sack it, and they're gonna exile it with Kaya. Do we do it again? I don't think so. None of this is relevant against her, though. I think I'm gonna be a mad lad and do it again. Okay, here we go. That's better. We can gain life back with the druid class too. And we have our own planeswalker. Yep. Bye, Griselbrand.
Honey, that's what I
You
do.
did your thing. You drew us 14 cards. Okay. So for this turn, do it like this. This is a non-artifact creature, right? And we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left over. Ooh, we could virtue. We could virtue. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Yeah, see, that doesn't do it. This, however, gives us value now and later with this Shieldred. And then we can just discard all of the reanimation spells that we have. Choose cards to keep. You don't matter. You. Is that? Yeah, I mean, Crawling Barrens is also a good land to keep. Maybe over this one. I think we do it like this. Kaya?
I heard you had some dead things that needed to stay dead.
Mm-hmm. They're not gaining life because they're not exiling creatures. So that's good. Discard a card. Crawling Barrens. Play you and Liliana. Or we could Virtue. Get back. Yeah, I think we just... How much life do we have? 3? Okay, so we have to get rid of this thing. We can... -2. And have what? 1? Oh my god. The timer is going to get me. Gotta make decisions fast. I think we do it like this.
Was I doing you?
Ah, very clever. They exiled their own creatures. which means they don't have enchantment removal, is what I'm assuming that means. Okay, no problem. We have a bunch of stuff that we could go get with once in future. How much mana do we have? 1, 2. What does this give us? Like that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. Not enough. So I think we have to minus Professor Onyx. Or we could Meat Hook Massacre it.
Just as dark and musty as I remember.
The other thing, I mean, the Celestis was tempting because it gains us life. Hopefully they won't exile that, we can get it back.
Never thought I'd miss the library.
We also can gain life with the Druid class.
I'm gone for now.
Oh, did they get me?
Your sword
Nice,
is
good game.
coming back to haunt you.
Yeah, tough deck to play. I mean, you know, their deck is very well designed to defeat what our deck is trying to do, right? It's a bummer we played a couple decks that have exile, like readily available exile removal, but that is the risk of playing this deck. So it's good that you guys get to see it. Let's play one more game because I feel like that's pretty rare that you come up against decks that are like exile focused. I mean, they do exist, but you're not going to see them that often. Not this often. Not like back to back like we did. So let's get another game in there where we're playing a more normal deck. Okay, so this is it's like a combo deck. I actually just made a video on this. So as long as it doesn't stay on the battlefield, we're all right. Get out of my opening hand, Griselbrand. This is not keepable anyway because we have no green mana. So yeah. This is much better. Much, much better. Okay, keep. Would be nice to go first, but can't have everything. So this combos essentially whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So if you have Griselbrand, that's one of the combos, or you have one of the liches, I forget what it's called. It's a 6 mana enchantment with hexproof. Basically, every time you gain life, you draw a card. So this combos with that, and it creates an endless loop where you can drain out the opponent on the spot. We'll just do it like this. Turn to Willowhaven. What does this do? That's a lot of text. I don't feel like reading that right now. Okay, what does this do? This can't be blocked. Why would you... Huh? Did they just spend... I mean, it's a defender, so they have to turn it... They have to do 3 mana. Base power toughness 5/4. Activate only if Surgery doesn't have defender. Oh, I see. It loses defender. Okay, so for 1 mana, it loses defender. And then they can continue. And then 6 mana, draw 3 cards, activate only if it's blue. So they have to... They kind of have to like rank it up. That's fine. Mm-hmm. So we can, does this give haste? No. We don't own an artifact. We could just play this for nothing. That doesn't seem good. We can destroy all enchantments. Might want to wait on that for this deck. That'd probably be relevant with their combo. Because if that enchantment that I said combos leaves the battlefield, then they lose the game. Would you like to draw a card? I hope you don't. Okay, that's smart. It's cool that this is a cast trigger too, meaning that like if it got countered, it wouldn't matter. So we just want them to tap out here. Like play their commander or something. Yes. Exactly. Okay. We like to draw cards too, opponent. We like to draw cards too. Pretty cool that this is an instant. Okay. Yeah. Are you telling me that you don't have removal for Griselbrand? Because that is going to be the first time in this episode. I think. Yeah, I lose a life. Mm-hmm. Draw 7. My turn. Okie dokie. Well. Is this an enchantment by chance? No. No, it's not. Okay, so next. Gain that 7 back. We do have a way to save Griselbrand in our hand, which is pretty dope. Did we already play a land for turn? No. So we can Druid class. Play a fetch. Gain a life. Crack it. Lose a life. Get a land, gain a life. We can haze them. And then keep up Malika Rebirth in case they have removal. Discard a card. Probably don't need you. It's a good card. Synergizes well with their commander. Okay, they're gonna blow up my druid class. It's fine. This will make a really nice blood on the meat hook massacre. Resolve. They still don't have an answer for Griselbrand. Oh no, opponent. Okay, yeah, you draw your card, but you're tapped out. Resolve. Do I just draw another 7? It's really tempting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wanted to Meat Hook Massacre for 4 and Back to Nature to get rid of this enchantment, but I guess we can wait on that because they won't have anything with haste. My turn. Into the north. It comes into play tapped though, right? Yeah. Alright, alright. We don't want to do this. We don't have enough snow lands. At least if we do it like this, we can hold up black for another Malka Rebirth. We should have attacked first. That was a mistake. Well, no. Yeah, no, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Because we wanted maximum life gain, but play the tap land in the turn. They're reading the card. Are you unfamiliar with our demon friend here? What does this do? Whenever deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life, pulls a card, then you gain 1 life, discard 1. Whenever you attack, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay. And Cyclonic Rift. Well, we can just replay it. That's fine. If they want to waste their Cyclonic Rift on Griselbrand, that's fine. We could have drawn cards in response. I know. I think we're fine. We have 7 cards in hand. We have a Blood on the Snow as well, so now we can actually play it without killing our own Griselbrand. My turn. Perfect. So now I think, yeah, we actually have enough to recast it, but that's not what we're going to do. We're just going to... We could wait on this, too. We could wait on this. Nah, it turns off their card draw. Is this worth it? I think so. We're going to gain life with Griselbrand and we have protection for it. Just want to make sure we don't... This deck drains us for life, so we just got to be careful. Dream Trawler. Okay. That would have been nice to know about beforehand. But we can draw into an answer. I think we gotta draw here. Dig up is perfect. So what? What is left in our deck that would get rid of that? Gains lifelink, but it doesn't gain indestructible, right? It gets hexproof. Yeah. Really hard to interact with. We could just start beating in their face, too. While they're tapped out. They might just have to block. So we could dig up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we could go get 4. So we'd have enough to get what is it? Crux of Fate, I think is what it's called. We could also get Liliana Dreadhorde General. Do we have enough for that? That's even better. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we do. That's even better. They can't get around the sacrifice effect. Now, if they have a spell pierce here, it sucks, but they don't.
My army will envelop this world. More useful than brave.
Okay. We could have gotten the other Liliana, the Professor Onyx. That one gains us life. Maybe that was a better play. Huh. Okay. Cool card. Pass. My turn. Nice. So we're only doing treasures from here on out. We don't want to lose too much life. We're definitely making a zombie.
This looks like a fun new toy.
Get rid of your thing. If we Griselbrand, we don't have a way to protect it. Does that matter? No, because we can play Virtue. Or wait, do we? Oh, they're asking if I want to play this as a land. I do not. Also, if they kill it, we draw a card at least, so it's not like a complete waste. Yeah, I would scoop it up too. You know we had fun. Okay, so I think Lich's Mastery is the name of the enchantment. It's a 6 mana enchantment. It comes down. It's hexproof, so it is almost impossible to interact with unless you have a destroy all enchantment effects. That's why I was holding on to this. In case they played that and then their commander, all they have to do is draw a card to trigger it, and it creates an endless cycle where we get drained and they draw infinite cards. Or they draw their whole deck and we get drained for each card they draw. So this, I was going to keep this up just in case they drew that, but they didn't have enough mana to do both. So they would need 6 for their commander now, 6 for that enchantment, or 6 for their commander and 8 for Griselbrand. Those are the 2 infinite combos. But that's why I was holding up this card instead of getting rid of this, even though, and so instead of getting rid of this, I was just killing their creatures, because this doesn't trigger unless they have creatures to attack with. Anyway, I didn't have time to explain that during the video, so I just wanted to explain that now. So let's do a deck review. I was pretty impressed by this deck. I think it's definitely a sleeper. The more I play Historic Brawl, the more I realize it's unfortunate, but it really does replicate 60 card formats, where kind of like Standard. Standard is a good example. You basically have 2 sides. You have extreme aggro and extreme control, and those are the only 2 viable options. Sometimes you have metas where it's mid-range heavy. I'm not tuned into the current Standard, so I'm not sure what it is right now. But in general, the way the format is constructed, you generally only have two options, which is extreme aggro and extreme control. And I feel like that's what's happening in a historic brawl. If you want to get wins, if you just want to have fun, you can play whatever you want. But if you want to have consistent wins, I feel like you have to have a control shell or an extreme aggro shell. Those are the two styles of decks that I've had success with. And whenever I try to make a mid-range pile, it just is not as consistent. Mid-range piles are already inconsistent inherently because they're trying to be two things at once. But then when you add in like 60 card singleton or 100 card singleton to the equation, they get even less consistent. So it's unfortunate because this would actually be a really cool mid-range pile. But the way I built it, being a control pile with the top end of Griselbrand, is exactly what this format wants. It wants you to like control the game, remove all your opponent's stuff, and slam down your big thing once the coast is clear and take over the game. Sometimes that's through the commander, sometimes that's through fetching something with your commander, but the idea is the same. And then you have the extreme aggro decks like Ragavan and the like white weenie decks, and I did a Gix video like a month ago where it was like mono black aggro. Those decks are successful too because they kill your opponent before they have a chance to do their big end game thing. I'm gonna keep trying though. I'm gonna keep trying to make mid-range value piles. I feel the reason I went on this tangent was because I feel like this is a good commander. Like if you play this card honestly and you actually have creatures in your deck that revolve around graveyard synergies like Plukranos, right? Because you can escape from the graveyard and stuff like that. I feel like this would be a really cool deck. And again, I think that deck is probably what you build in Commander, right? You build like the mid-range version with some top-end payoffs in Commander. But that won't work in Historic Brawl. It's just too sweaty. Again, the reason I'm going over that is just to explain why I built the deck like this. I built it because it was fun. I mean, the way to make this work is you have to have only one creature, so it's kind of inherently a control deck. But not necessarily. Like you could build this as a mid-range pile with still just one creature. But when I saw the fact that it would just be one creature, and I knew I was going to be in Historic Brawl trying to get some wins, I was like, well, we might as well just do Golgari Control because Golgari Control can destroy anything. So it's a really good color combination for control. If we were in like, I don't know, Silenzia, I don't know if I would choose a control pile. I might go like more aggro based because of the color combination. But we're in black green, so we have all the best, removal. I mean, we didn't get a chance to do Casualties of War, but if you ever cast this card, it's just absolutely devastating for the opponent. So yeah, not a lot to break down. If you like the video, drop a like, leave a comment. Let me know if I missed any card in here that you think would be good. I think the ratio of reanimation spells is good. I think there's 7. Let's count them. 1. This is technically bring back to your hand. We won't count that. I'm talking about direct to the battlefield. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7. If you count Blood on the Snow, 8, and then this one technically is 9 because you can flash it back. And then you have 10. This is like an off way of doing it. And then there's one other in here. Where is it? I don't know where it's at, but I think there's one more in here that's like an artifact or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So there's like essentially 10% of the deck, right? There's 10-ish cards that return it, the creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. I think that's the right ratio. If you notice in the games, we didn't draw too many of these effects. You really only want to draw like 1 every 10 cards, right? Which makes sense with the math, right? If there's 10 of them, you draw 1 every 10 cards on average. That's kind of what you want because you don't want to have more than one of these in your hand. You want to have all your control pieces and then draw into one of these, or play one of these, play Griselbrand, maybe they remove it, you draw 7 cards and then you draw another one, right? Or this one where it's in the graveyard and you can play it again out of the graveyard. But you really don't want to have you don't want like 15, 20 of these in the deck. The deck won't work correctly if you do that. So yeah, I think the next deck I'm going to build with this same exact shell, like every card will be exactly the same except for Griselbrand, will be cedh, which if we look up cedh real quick, one of my favorite cards. I own a playset, foil playset, cedh. Let's see if I can spell that right. Shigeki, S-H-I, Shigeki. Yeah. Shigeki. So, came out of the, oh man, I'm forgetting the set, but the, not Streets of New Capenna, Kawigama, Neon Dynasty. Really awesome card. I have this is actually a commander deck I built in paper. It's like Turbo Fog, but, this card allows you to return any non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. So the idea, it would be like full control, like full balls of the wall control. So everything's the same, right? You just play old Stickfingers, and then instead of reanimating to the battlefield, you use effects that bring creatures back to your hand, which are way cheaper. They're usually like 1 mana, 2 mana. You get this back in your hand, and then you have forever, you have a way to bring all of your cards that you've spent from your graveyard back into your hand. And the more mana you make, the more you can get. So like if you put, you have to channel it and you have to do XX, but you can return, if you have enough mana, you can return a whole, grip of cards, like 7 cards from your graveyard to your hand. You can do it at instant speed. So you imagine you spent your whole hand, you have cedh left in your hand, you wait till their end step, you cedh goes to the graveyard, you return all your best applicable control spells to your hand, one of those being a return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. It's your turn now. You use the return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, get cedh back in your hand, right? And you can endlessly loop that for the rest of the game. So that will be the next video I create. I didn't want to do that for this one. I wanted to do something a little bit more fun, a little bit more Timmy. But that will be the next old Stickfingers video I make, because that's next level control. Anyway, sorry, I'm smiling ear to ear thinking about it over here. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, subscribe. It helps me out, helps the channel grow. I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one. Later.